Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories, and I'm with this guy, Rex, over here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are and what you do.
I'm Rex McKay. I'm just a community guy, just a normal guy, no affiliation with anything
That's
at
how
this
I
point,
found you, just part of the crypto community.
right? Um, I'm a big DPoS advocate. Anything to do with delegated proof of stake. Not
Alright,
really not really technical, you know what I mean? But just understanding like how the thing works and all that is what it's all about.
maybe we just kick it off with a little bit of that. Let everybody know a little bit about your understanding, and maybe we could help bring them up a peg if they're kind of new to this space. They don't understand delegated proof.
Okay, yeah. Well, delegated proof of stake is so you have instead of like mining, you have witnesses, and it's spread out over like EOS has and Steam it has. You have 21 witnesses that actually produce the blocks. I mean, you can have up to 100 or more backups and things like that. But the mining is done by those witnesses, so it's spread out and they're elected. Um, what that does is cuts down on the um, the mining costs, and the transaction speeds are phenomenal.
Yeah, I was talking to a previous guest recently about proof of stake and how proof of work, kind of strives to become proof of stake. Even if we look at Ethereum right now, it's striving to become proof of stake. It's in its roadmap to stake. So I was just curious, how'd you get into this space? What's your background like? How did you stumble into this rabbit hole? Because everyone's got a different origin story. I'm just wondering where's yours.
Yeah, it's wild. Really wild. I'm just an anarchist, you know what I mean? Voluntarist. I just believe in we don't really need to have anyone regulate us or tell us what to do. That's it. Um, so being in that community, I found Steam It in like mid 2016 and didn't really understand. I just knew people were getting paid like crazy money for their posts because of the inflation at the time. And from there, I kind of when my posts weren't really making a whole lot of money because I didn't really know like you had to bring like real value, you know what I mean? I kind of took a break and then got into trading around I'd say March of last year before it all really took off.
So,
And
but it
then
was
found
around before 1,000, right?
yeah, yeah. And then whenever I started doing that, I got back into Steam It, and then we started like playing with the adult stuff and seeing how we could make that relevant to what was going on. And it turns out that it's pretty damn relevant.
Right, you were one of the first people to really start utilizing Steemit for the not safe for work side of it. How have you seen that reaction? Have you seen people go and kind of embrace the content, or is it still something that you see kind of taboo even in this industry?
It still is a little bit, but more and the more adult workers, the more sex workers that embrace it. I think it's going to be embraced a little bit more. You have a few people that see what this community can do to bring mainstream support for crypto, but there's several different platforms that you can go to put this out there, and there's some I guess you could say some pretty big supporters of the work that adult work, sex work, that will show their support on these posts. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it might not be largely adopted, but they are there definitely.
What kind of platforms do you use that may be like crypto related or blockchain related that are adult content based?
For adult content, Steam It. You can post on Steam It and earn there just for posting and interacting. Whaleshares.io, that's another one. Um, Smoke.io, which is for the cannabis industry.
I'm waiting for my confirmation right now. I just got to get verified, and I'll be on smoke.io.
Awesome. And I mean, you just network with other people in the cannabis community. You know what I mean? We post like tasteful nude art there. You know what I mean? As long as it has to do with cannabis, you don't just go there and like whatever.
The sign up process is a little sketchy though for like some of this stuff, like when it comes to anonymity. Like I had to give them my phone number, email address, stuff like that. But that's also, I guess, to keep the environment safe.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, then you have Vice Industry Token, Touch.tube.
Yeah, dude, that's cool what they're doing with like Tube 8 and stuff, right?
Yeah, yep. So we're waiting on that adoption. But yeah, I mean, all these different platforms, I really believe this is where mainstream adoption comes in. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do. Like, that's why I work with these guys. The Stroken Tokens, they're like right here, strokentokens.com. You know, they're going to be able to, with this platform, sex workers will be able to basically crowdsource or, you know, be incentivized by their audience to, you know, create content. So, you know, when it comes to these, you know, tube sites and other things, you know, that they kind of take advantage of the content being provided.
Absolutely, they do. I mean, they're getting a lot more than what the models and everyone else that really makes the stuff happen. They're getting a lot more. You know what I mean? And that's the big problem with that's the problem that I had when I realized we could use Steemit, you know, to post and do the same things and not have them take a cut. You know, the cut actually goes to the curators. The cut goes to the people that are commenting and sharing it and that are involved in the whole process. So
have you checked out bit.tube?
Yes, bit.tube too.
What are your thoughts on stuff like that?
All of it's awesome. I mean, this is where mainstream goes. I mean, after a while, this is where the adoption's going to come from. You know what I mean?
So how did you get it? We got it how you got into this industry, but how did you get into the sex work industry? What was that like?
Just, I mean, realizing you don't really have to leave your house to make any money. You know what I mean? Everyone does it. You know what I mean? It's pretty stupid.
Yeah, and voyeurism's in, man. Like, you know, it's a thing that, you know, if you're comfortable with, like, even doing this content creation on YouTube, you have to be comfortable with, you know, putting yourself out there, but you can capitalize on the attention economy that is booming. And, you know, the adult industry, that attention economy is thriving right now, and especially with these new, you know, these new advancements in the industry using this technology. Come on, dude. PayPal just made it so you had to go through KYC just to tip people using PayPal. A lot of people that are customers of sex workers don't want to use PayPal now because of that. So now, like, you know, even my girlfriend, she sells videos at Ember Burns Live on Twitter, and people are like, "Oh, can I buy with PayPal?" And she's like, "No, fuck PayPal. They'll steal the money anyway." Because, you know, PayPal doesn't really trust or not trust. Doesn't work with sex workers. It's against their terms and services. And there's been a lot of people that have problems with that. So I'm seeing, you know, that industry adopting this because of a need. You know, like regulational reasons or forcing the hands of people as content creators or content consumers go. Like, their hands are tied. They have to find another means of interaction with currency, and that's what cryptocurrencies are really enabling.
Absolutely. And not only that, you know, we're seeing every day you have content being taken down on mainstream social for a multitude of reasons.
Oh, Instagram's like now infamous for shutting down sex workers' profiles. I think at Pornhub, didn't they just lose their Instagram account? Somebody big did.
I'm not sure, but I tell you what, it's not just sex workers, it's cannabis. Oh, yeah. It's people just speaking the truth. And that's why these platforms exist. You know what I mean? Like, and we're not in competition with anybody, you know? Anyone can come to these platforms and promote their product and get paid for it, never be taken down. You know, it's not a competition. Like, even with Stroken, you know, it's not a competition for them to come and put their content and just explain about their project on, say, Whale Shares or Steemit. The same thing with, like, the Tokes platform, like they just recently signed up to Smoke.io. Where better to advertise your product than a community that totally 100% gets what you are about?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does create small echo chambers, but it really does reach your customer base that you're really trying to hit anyway. Instead of
Right.
advertising on Facebook, you might as well be putting a post out on Steam it and promoting it with that revenue rather than, throwing it out into, the ether of Facebook and not really getting the demographic that you would hope to get with your content, especially if you're a blockchain-based company or something to that effect. Or, again, adult cannabis, any of that, it's really impossible to do any kind of advertising. And in any business, any industry, marketing is key. So he who controls the marketing controls the flow of your business, man.
Yep, that's it. And not only that, I mean, like the solutions these social outlets provide to underprivileged countries, man. In your last podcast, you were talking to Crypto Blood about, you touched on Venezuela and that kind of thing. Like I'm currently running initiatives or putting together initiatives on whale shares to have the community in Venezuela get involved in promotion, and I can leverage what I have to support them, and in turn they can I forget, it's like 60 or 90 whale stake a month. They can
So how
feed
does
their whole entire
whale
family.
shares work? How would a user use whale shares? How's that work?
Just like Steam it. It's the same type of thing, except it's not a blogging platform or more of a social sharing platform,
Oh,
like
cool.
say like a Facebook
All
or
right.
something like that.
Yeah, so like you said, basically copy paste. If you're going to be putting this out on Facebook, copy it, paste it onto these platforms and earn from it.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
not like it's any more work than not. Like that's what I kind of
No,
did when I first got into Steam it. I was using it sort of like Facebook. I would just make a post. I wasn't really blogging. I realized it was more about, tutorials and more educational illustrations rather than cat videos. But
hmm
even those little posts I was doing still added up because Steam has gone up over the time I've been in. So even a couple pennies back then is still worth a few cents more now.
right, right, and once again, I'm going to touch on something that you talked about in your last podcast. You talked about like stacking the tokens. You know what I mean? Stacking Bitcoin in a bear market.
Yeah, we got to accumulate right now. It's not about selling, it's
Right.
about stacking.
Right, and you're stacking. Like you can go on these platforms and you don't have to bring anything to the table aside from like just being a good content producer, and the community recognizes this and you get rewarded for it, and you can just stack. It doesn't matter what the market is. You don't have to bring anything. You don't have to bring an investment to the table. Do you
I'm
know what I'm
hoping, yeah,
saying?
no, I do, and I really hope that this sooner than later appeals to the mainstream authors of, CNBC or Fox, whatever. These journalists that work for
Right.
the mainstream media, they could become independent mainstream medias themselves on these platforms. People
Right.
obviously read their illustrations in this newspaper or magazine, or say they blog for BuzzFeed. Just do it for yourself. Be your own
Right.
platform, and you can have a following. People share it, they like it, and you earn revenue. So people, I see this empowering more independent journalism in the future because people don't have to sell out to be part of like
hmm
Steam It. Now I do see like you can't go and be the biggest author of why Steam It sucks on the blockchain and use Steam It to post that illustration and hope that it gets, there's some sense of biasness when it comes to writing articles on Steam or any other platform where, likes equal revenue. People don't want to like something
Right.
that's going to hurt their investment of the platform they're on. So there is sort of that, like, I don't know. I don't even know what to really call that, but it's like self-sustaining. Like it incentivizes positive things of itself, but also good quality content, pure, truthful content, not malicious or invalid, incorrect content, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm more like when like I even reached out to like anti-media and stuff like that because there's been a lot of like truth uh media, you know what I mean, that is just getting taken down everywhere. And these platforms, yeah, they need to reach the masses with what they're doing, but they also need to have their content in a place that can't go away. You know,
Yes.
if you're a sex worker, if you're a cannabis person, if you're like telling truthful stories, like honestly, if your content's out there and they can just squash it and it goes away, it's gone. If you put it on these blockchain platforms, like it's not going to go anywhere, and you can always send someone there to look at it.
Yeah, what they're
You know what I
doing
mean?
with content on the internet's no different than what they used to try to achieve with content in general before the printing press. They would
Right.
burn books, they would, you know, imprison people, they would create laws that prevented people from creating such content. And then we had the printing press. We could do more content creation than they could regulate. And, you know, they're trying
Right.
to figure out how to do that on the internet now with where we've built our own central points of soapbox on things that are like Facebook and Twitter or YouTube that can be centralized, that can be confiscated, you know, can be shut down at any time. These soapboxes are a farce. They're just trying
Right.
to, you know, make it look like we have the freedoms. Like, I love when people say, "Oh, I'm being censored on Facebook. I'm being censored on Twitter." Like, duh. You agreed to that shit. You know,
Exactly. Yeah,
you agreed to
that's what
being
it's
a
all
part of
about.
a censored community.
Right. And I mean, it's their corporate interest that they have in mind. They don't have you, the user, in mind. And that's just how that is.
Yeah, no, it's always going to be that way until, you know, code replaces individuals. Like, people are flammable. They are, you know, they're likely to be biased and try to manipulate in their best interest. But if you were to create a protocol, it doesn't manipulate. It does what it does. Code is law. But when we get to that point, we won't have to worry about politicians, you know, lobbying in one direction or another. It'll be a lot more of an open source smart contract world where if you want to be a politician, you're going to have to be a really good smart contract developer, develop a smart contract and hope that people voted into political stance so that your smart contract is now a politician. Harrison, you have created a you know what I mean? Like, instead of running
Right.
for political office, you're gonna have to code for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly that's the thing, like projects like EOS and stuff like that are solving with the governance built in, and your elected officials in essence are the block producers. And it's the same way with like Steemit and any DPoS chain. You're elected, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
and that's why I like things like Spank Chain, where they're streaming IPFS. You know, they're utilizing blockchain technology to try to figure out if they can get away from the central points of failure. I know it's a centralized company now, but you never know. They could walk away, decentralize the project once it's, you know, done. But it is really hard for a project that is truly decentralized from the gate to get any progression. I feel like decentralization is one of Bitcoin's biggest problems and one of its biggest like perks. You know, it's like, damn, if we had the Bitcoin Foundation, we would get a lot of shit done. I mean, look at Ripple. Like, they get
yeah,
shit done for being a
yeah,
company.
yeah, and that's, you do need some kind of, or you need either centralization like to an extent to like market and things like that, or you just need people in the community to band together and create that. Do
That's
you
why I
know?
like
And
Charlie Lee. Charlie Lee did that
yeah,
with SegWit. You know what I mean? He was like, hey, we need to do this. They got it done. If Satoshi would have come out of the woodworks and commented on a forum somewhere, hey, we need to get this done, it would have got done.
but the thing is, like in like DPoS, where you have, you know, you can get people who know what they can do in the platform will go and band together with other people, and it's, you know, it's the community actually coming together to create initiatives and reward people for those initiatives and things like that.
Yeah, no, dude. Have you? All right. So I wanted to ask you: have you ever had the opportunity to use? I don't want to incriminate, but have you ever checked out like Silk Road before it went away, or any of those like
Yeah,
platforms?
yeah,
Like, I really like the ideology behind these centralized marketplaces. I love and fear them evenly because, you know, a open source battlefield of market could go, you know, malicious really quick because there are malicious markets out there, but the community will be able to self-govern that platform, and decide whether or not they agree or disagree with these, you know, things. And that's how I feel like we should have a true open economy, a free market. Not saying that you can't have this product in the same place as this other product, or this state can't sell this product but this state can. Like, all that shit fucks with everything. I feel
Absolutely.
like once we have the ability to really do free market, you know, like third world countries like Venezuela being able to use something where they could sell, you know, baskets they made at home on, you know, a decentralized marketplace for crypto. And you know, because maybe they can't have an Amazon account because Amazon won't let them be a retailer from Venezuela. And there's a lot of problems here. It can be solved.
We even have community members from Venezuela on whale shares going out and talking to business owners in Venezuela to accept whale steak for, say, it being a restaurant. And they're accepting that as payment there. And whale steak is worth, last time I checked, it was like 16 cents or something like that here. And you go to, but they're like 60 whale steak, like I said, can feed a family for a month. So by them just incorporating that into their businesses, like organically, is huge. And then on Smoke,
and they could use that platform to promote their business.
Yeah, yeah. And then on Smoke, there's another platform built on Smoke that is called Trade It for Weed, which their Twitter got taken down. But Trade It for Weed is a kind of like it's a marketplace for anything. You know what I mean? It's like a forum, and you can sell things on there for Smoke. You can trade, barter, whatever. And it's built right on the Smoke IO.
That is really cool. I'll check that out. I really feel like people underestimate the power of purchasing drugs, whether it be cannabis or penicillin. You know, people really underestimate the ability to actually have the permission to get these things. I mean, I live in a state where I can legally smoke cannabis if I can afford my doctor's permission.
Right.
But then I have to pay a prescription, then I have to pay all these fees, or I could just get weed and smoke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do I have to pay for permission to either indulge recreationally or to medicate? If somebody needs antibiotics because they have an infection, they shouldn't need thousands of dollars to go see a doctor and then hundreds of dollars to fill a prescription, or hundreds of dollars a month to, you know, pay for insurance and maybe a couple dollars more on top for the medicine. That is a scam. That's extortion of health.
Absolutely. But it's extortion of anything, you know.
Oh wow! Shout out to Bitcoin Ben for the $10 super chat, bro. Thank you, bro.
Nice.
My favorite truck drive, yo, bro. You got to do one of these for me one day when you're driving a truck. Sorry to cut you off there, man. So no, yeah, cool. So the ability to do like free market in the drug industry was important, and what Silk Road did was it showed that the need for one industry and the use for one technology in another industry completely coincide. And the only things that really keep this from growing forward is the fear like people have, right? Like, I don't want to get caught, I don't want to get in trouble, but then they end up going and doing things in dark alleys, getting taken advantage of, buying artificial narcotics that aren't real or dangerous because they're cut with something. You know, you don't have any reputation. But absolutely. Silk Road gave a place for people to go get these substances through reputable sources and have a safer experience where, you know, you don't have to worry about somebody getting shot, you know, just because they wanted to, you know, try Molly for the first time. That's not a safe trade-off to say that this is why it's illegal because it's dangerous, when people are going to do it anyway and create a totally more dangerous environment around it.
Yeah, and what's, I guess, danger is like subjective. Yeah, like really.
Yo,
like,
yeah.
Who's to say what it is and what it isn't?
No, you're right. I mean, why is skydiving legal? How's that legal? But suicide's illegal.
Right, because I mean, you could potentially be suiciding yourself jumping out of a plane.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, imagine being the guy strapped to somebody and they jump out with you and you have the dude on the front and he just starts knocking you out in the back and he's like, oh, I'm ending it. You know, I mean, forks in restaurants are like another thing. I'm like, yeah, these forks are dangerous. We should regulate them in restaurants. We should ID everybody that wants a fork and a steak knife. Like, we can't over regulate our environment and call it safety. It's bubble wrap, hindrance. It doesn't help any. It only makes things more dangerous. So did you you see that we got over what? I think over 100,000 signatures on freeross.org petition.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's about huge. Like, it's insane to lock any of these people up for anything they're trying to do, acting like they're some kind of criminal. Like, is that really criminal activity? I don't see how it can be.
Well, then there's things that are blatantly criminal activity, but people do not go to jail for. Fucking Wells Fargo is a golden example of a bunch of suits that will never see handcuffs, even though they're the biggest criminals, period.
Dude, any bank. You know what I mean?
Well, any bank, but Wells Fargo got fucking caught red-handed opening accounts without their customers' consent and charging them for it. Kevin Pham has outed them numerous times in mainstream media about this, and they try to ignore it. You know, the people that even the people that know that happened got upset. You're right. They went right down the street to PNC, who's going to screw them in a different direction. But either way, you're getting scammed. Right.
I mean, that's like me saying, yeah, dude, I'll lend you X amount of dollars that I don't have and charge you interest on it. It's like, it's silly.
Yeah, but don't worry, because you can never pull out more than I actually have.
Right, and that's exactly the problem. If everyone went to the bank right now and tried to get cash, sorry, they don't have it. It doesn't even exist.
A lot of banks have been posting billboards or like signs in the bank saying, I think it's around $5,000 or so now, that you need to give them 48 hours notice, that they, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's starting to look sketchy, you know, when all markets are down, not just crypto. All markets are having a winter right now. But at least we're acknowledging our winter. It's the market over there that keeps trying to, like, oh, we're fine, we're fine. It's that meme of the dog in the burning house sipping his coffee. That's the banking industry right now. I was at Money 2020 and I saw the Federal Reserve had a booth there to, like, promote themselves. I was like, yep, that's a sign. That is a sign that they are scared.
Dude, how, like, I don't even know, what good does that do to promote yourself being the Federal Reserve? Like, that doesn't even, like, you're just in place, you know, you're put there. Like, no one chooses to use your services.
It looked it looked like they were like marketing slavery. Like, you should sign up to be a slave here. Like, I thought I already was. Like, you are and you are and you are. We just wanted to rub it in your face a little bit.
That's insane. It's absolutely insane.
So where do you see regulations going? I'm sorry, if you wanted to go, I just wanted to see, like, where do you see this going? Do you see regulations going in any direction? Where do you see it?
I try not to look.
Tell me you. Know what I mean? Yeah, no, I don't care. I never cared about the law or regulations. And people keep regulating that. I don't care. I use a VPN and a Tor browser. I'll download videos if I want. I don't pay for them, or I will pay for whatever. But I still have the ability to do whatever I want, and you're right. To stay free is to choose to ignore the fake fence that they're trying to build.
Right. And that's the same thing with, like, even the markets. Even the markets, like, I just try to not really pay attention to them. You know what I mean? Just try to build value. Like what you do every day, you try to build value. And as long as you do that, like, this cannot really ever fail. Like, how's it gonna fail if everyone just continues to build value?
All right, no, we're at that point too where it is a builder's season, where if you want to gain a institutional investor, I mean, where real capital is really going to start rolling in, this is the year coming up, and they're not going to want to invest in anything unless it's real, viable, sits in front of them, they can use it. They have you have customers, you have users, you have a utility, all that. That's what I'm excited for. The investors are incentivizing the developers to develop, because they know if they deliver, they'll get that payday. We're waiting for these killer apps. You know, the money's on the table. We just got to wait for these, you know, nerds to get out of their sheds and start developing. You know, and they're kind of complacent. All the smartest people that are in crypto have been in crypto for a long time, possibly conceptual period. and they've made off very well financially. So they're not very incentivized to keep working. Many of the best developers financially are set for life, and they're done. That's it. I did my thing. I coded stuff, and I got cryptos, and now I'm rich. So we're waiting for the next season, I think, of hungry developers that are just as intelligent but haven't had that financial success that kind of demotivates them to really get to the grinding stone. Because we've seen it. I've seen it. If you look back far enough, a lot of shit was happening. The past couple of years, it was all white papers and ICOs and bullshit. But now I feel like this season's is changing.
The thing is that there are tools available where ICOs don't even need to exist. You know what I mean? Like, you can build something and share drop on a community, and you don't have to go raise money. And that's really where everything's headed, I think.
Yeah, and we need money, like, so EOS, we can buy a booth at the next conference.
Right. And like EOS, those projects there, they're building value. All the forks, I mean, they can just build value and drop, like, share drop on EOS holders. You know what I mean? Like, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, I use the EOS Lynx wallet. Have you checked that out? LYNX. No, it's a really cool wallet. It actually has a built-in browser for the Ethereum blockchain, so you can go and browse a few of the dApps. And right in the wallet for EOS, the Lynx wallet, you can do the EOS dice. So you can just sit there and lose EOS all day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I
right into Brock Pierce's back pocket.
I haven't played with that just because of that fact. You know what I mean?
I lost some EOS, but I made some BET tokens. So whenever or whatever they do with BET, which looks like they're getting listed and stuff, I don't know. But it's just cool. I just like to play with the stuff in the space. Not everything's about making money.
Right.
Like, I like to play with a lot of these dApps and a lot of these things. Are there any projects that you you see yourself playing with? Like, not saying CryptoKitties, but for an example, things like that, or anything like Dappy?
No, I kind of just like keep busy enough, just doing what I do. You know what I mean? Like as far as checking out the games and stuff, like, I like where that's going. I just haven't really had time to check any of that out. But that's going to introduce everything to mainstream, like you guys were talking about earlier with the wax and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for
and to mention wax, if you check out blocktivity.info, that shows the transactions per day, average transactions per day, and how much percent of the usage capabilities of the certain chains. Wax is like swapping back and forth with EOS at number one all the time, because like these delegated proof of stake chains have the speed, and if you look, like 5 or 6 of the top 10 on a daily basis are DPoS chains. It's blocktivity.info. It doesn't base its ranking on market cap. It's based on actual activity.
Market cap's such a fake ass way to fucking do any of this in this space. Right. It's fake, and that doesn't mean anything.
And you need to, like, what is use case? Like, who's using it? How many people are using it? That's where it matters.
Yeah, I feel like things should be listed by volume more so than market cap.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, people just want to look at dollars right now. They don't really. I mean, and that's another thing. It's education, right? Like, people don't know enough to know what to care about or not to care about. So all this is incentivizing our world to just be smarter. Like, we're working with what used to be dumb money. So really, the dumber you were, better off you were. You were using dumb money. But now that we're on cryptocurrencies, we're using smart money. The smarter you are, the better off you are. You know, it's incentivizing people to care about money. One, like, most people look at Bitcoin and they're like, who cares? But then they like stumble into fractional reserve banking and all this, and they're just like, oh, I get it. You know, it's accidental education. So if people are going to get into this space like, oh, Lambos, and they don't get a Lambo, I hope they at least learned a thing or two.
Yep. I mean, that's what it, honestly, like, that's what it was at first. You know, I think that's what brings a lot of people to the space, unless you're a tech person. I mean, and I'm not a tech person, but I see real world problems and I see real world solutions. Do you
Well,
know what
see,
I
when you say
mean?
you're not a tech person, that just means you're not technical, but you're techie. You use the tech.
Right.
That's what's important. You're using the tech. And that's what I try to tell people when they say, oh, people got to do their due diligence, do your own due research. You know, you should really learn the ins and outs. Like, if you have to really learn about every single piece of Steam you're never going to fucking use Steam.
And here's my thing. Once they get the gateways, like mass adoption comes when you don't know that you're using tech. Do
Right.
you know what I mean?
Stop
Like,
incentivizing people to learn too much.
right, right. We want people to come to the space and not even know that they're using it. And once gateways and things like that make it seamless to get into the space, it's lights out. Like that's when everything's going to take off.
And we're not far. I mean, we have these small little bridges in these gaps, things like BitPay card or Purse.io for like shopping on Amazon, Cheap Air for booking flights, Expedia accepts crypto for booking your vacations. You can do there's so many ways now, but it's just not common knowledge. I mean, even Craigslist embraced crypto, and you can buy and sell your services and goods on Craigslist with Bitcoin by default. So
Right.
it's being built. I just think we need to see, like, you know, that user interface that came with AOL discs. Remember when everybody was giving those AOL discs out? Nobody knew how to use the internet until AOL made it as easy as putting in that disc and plugging it in. That's it.
Yeah, they sent it to everybody. They sent it to you to use because they knew once they got you to use it, then it was, that's what you were going to do. You were going to use their service.
And that's the equivalent of a stable coin. Like the AOL disc feels like a government issue stable coin to me. It's like, ooh, but hopefully people will learn how to get out of this intranet, which is this stable coin, blah, blah, blah bullshit, and go use decentralized, open source, not so central. Like, I feel like even with Venezuela, what they're doing with the Petro, it just made it easier for what Dash did to step in and, hey, see that? Yeah, we're better. It made it more, it built confidence in the people of the area.
And honestly, I mean, Venezuela, like you keep talking about that and we keep going back to it. And like the biggest, I think it's like 60 or 70 some percent of the members on whale shares are from Venezuela. And that just shows what crypto does. Do you know what I mean? It shows the power that crypto has.
I've seen content creators in Venezuela show like how they create content and they kind of like work in the industry to do things to kind of like micro earn, and it's a huge impact where they're at because of the currency difference. Like $1 here is $1. You could barely get a bag of chips now, but a dollar in Venezuela goes a lot farther.
Yeah, and you can't even, like, whenever I first heard about that, I was like, that's just insane. And then I just wanted to be a part of like helping somebody, to the best that I can. And like if that's like coordinating some initiatives with some people from Venezuela so I can reward them, like that's just awesome to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is what this is doing. It's really not for the rich to get richer. It's for the poor to finally get rich.
Absolutely. Or to just be able to live decently. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, almost any place that you could put crypto is better than a bank account right now. Like, right. Honestly, if you're going to put it in there for a savings for a year, 2 years, 3 years in a savings account, throw a dart at crypto right now. I mean, if you can live without it, if it's not like retirement money, because the bank is not going to be giving you the returns. And even if it does look like it with like your numbers got bigger, I got a 0 now or something after my number. That is worth a lot less by the time you actually get it. It's artificial gains.
It's artificial money.
Yeah, that's what they're,
that the dollar is an artificial thing. Like, it just is. Well, there's no other way to break it down. It's fake.
It's imagination that we all believe in. It's a group conscious mass illusion.
Yep. I mean, you talk about something enough and you tell someone something enough, and it is what it is. And that's where we're at.
So how do you use cryptos in your daily life?
All day long, especially using the platforms I'm on. You know what I mean? I'm sending and receiving all day long.
Well, I'm just curious what some platforms you may use, just for the listeners to know where they can go, actually use crypto, because I feel like a lot of people still like, oh, what can you do with that token? Like, it does things. It's accepted places. So I was just
Yeah,
wondering, like,
absolutely.
what do you use crypto for and where?
So I'd say like on Vice Token, I mean, you can on Vice Token, the real world use case there is using your stake to upvote a video that you like, and you're giving that person that posted the video a share of the reward. Do you know what I mean? And then on whale shares, it's the same thing. Smoke, it's the same thing. But as more and more people develop other solutions to things, like I was talking about tradeitforweed.io, then you can take those tokens that you earn in that community and go spend it on the platforms that are created there. So I mean
That's
that's coming up. I mean,
that's
and
cool
like you were
shit.
saying before, you can use crypto to buy flight flights and stuff like that on Expedia and stuff like that. There's gift cards that you can use.
Yeah, when I was
All
in
different kinds
Canada,
of
I
stuff.
used coincards.ca to get
Right.
gas with crypto.
There's just so many different cards out there. I mean, I couldn't even list them all. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
No, I do, because I have like
it
30 friggin' apps. It's really hard. That's why I try to
it's
bring
hard to
up a
keep
few.
up.
That's why I try to bring up a few here and there every episode, just so people know one place to go or something every day that's new to them. They could use it. I know
Hmm.
that you wanted to give away some tokens today. I was just curious, maybe where can they use these tokens? What are the tokens for? From stuff like that, and we can let them know exactly how they get involved.
Okay, the tokens that I'm going to give away are I'll give away some erotics tokens for the Whale Shares platform. It's an upvote token from the NSF Wizard account.
Oh, cool.
So if you make a post, you can copy the link to this post. You can put it in the memo of your BitShares wallet and send the tokens, and it'll give you an upvote depending on how many tokens that you send. So it's worth actual whale stake. And the other one is smoke bits. I'm going to give away some smoke bits too, and that's
Smoke bits.
for
Where's that from?
smoke bits. That's from smoke.io.
Oh, so you could use
And
them on their platform?
yes, and that'll give you a upvote from the official Fuzzy account, which is a pretty massive upvote. So I'm gonna have a drawing for the smoke bits that I give away because it's pretty monstrous little token. But yeah, they're
I
powerful. They're powerful tools. I mean, we can use these to have people run initiatives and pay them to run initiatives, and then they can take them and actually get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Yep, I'm adding the link right now to the description box so they could click on that BitShares link you gave me.
Okay. If they don't have an address, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are here watching live and have a BitShares address, go ahead and post that in the comments section. Even when the video is not live, wait for the comments to come up and just drop a comment with your BitShares address, or click the link in the description box. It's at the very bottom. Make sure you click a few of the links along the way and stuff like that. I have your Twitter and your manyvids link down there. I didn't know if you wanted me to put any other links and stuff like that in the
Yeah,
description box.
I'm just a community member on all these platforms. You know what I mean? I just feel the need to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, no,
I'm not important anywhere. It's just I'm just trying to spread the word.
I'm with you, man. Like, that's why I like talking to people like you, people that are in the space building communities, because like a lot of people come in and no offense, but for the people that really know their shit, the techie motherfuckers, they really don't got the time to answer the questions in the discords and the telegrams. And without people
No,
like
but
you and me,
what's
they're
cool is that
there.
they're building the things. They're building
Right.
all the cool shit. You know
But
what I
that's where the
mean?
community comes in. Is there's cool shit, but now we need people to help people on ramp in, and that's where you come in. You're an on ramp.
Right. That's it.
So what are some of the projects you're working with, and what do they do? Let's try to educate some of these people more.
As far as, I'm not really working with any
Well, not
project,
like you know what I mean. What
but
are some of the projects that you like, that you're interested in, that you're part of the communities of? I just want to, I like talking about projects and different
yeah, yeah.
things.
Um, anything really, honestly, anything delegated proof of stake. I'm just partial because I've been using them daily and I know how they work, and they work all day. I mean, even try to send Ethereum. Ethereum's fast, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
faster than Bitcoin. It's faster than Bitcoin Cash. But try to send Ethereum and you're still waiting. If you go on like the BitShares DEX or any other delegated proof of stake decentralized exchange, it's a second. Like it's there. You send it and it's there right now. You know what I mean? And it's those use cases that, and social media like blogging and community and just interacting, that kind of thing, that's EOS. So the things I'm interested in, like EOS, whale shares, smoke, vice token, stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Are you
Like,
using
and
any of these to try to do what we were talking about, where we're like stacking our coins in this season of accumulation? Like, how are you accumulating your coins?
absolutely, by participating, just by being there, you know what I mean? Just by
Well,
just
when you contribute to one of these platforms and create value, you earn value. That's the point of these.
absolutely. And you don't have to spend any money. So even in a bear market, if you're afraid to throw your money at something, you could be just going and doing what you do every day on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. You could do it on these platforms and you're stacking. You know what I mean? Bear
Yeah.
market. Ah,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I say it's the attention economy boom right here. People if you have the time to put out content, people have the time to give you their attention. It's just whether or not you're capitalizing on that or not.
right. And that's, I mean, really, that's the mass adoption. This is the mass adoption that everyone wants.
Yep.
It's what people, where do people spend their time at? All day, every day, facing their phone. Do you know what I mean? They want something now. They want a reaction. They want to say something and they want like 100 people to respond to it. That's where it's at. That's why DPoS chains are where it's at.
Yeah, I'll have to check some more of those out, man. What was that website again that you mentioned?
Which
To check out the
uh
delegated Blocktivity. Thank
Blocktivity.info.
you. I'll have to
Blocktivity.info.
I'll have to check that out. Get more into that. I've been looking a lot into things that are like proof of work, proof of stake. Um, Worrying a little bit about Ethereum headed to staking. Looking at Ethereum Classic as a hedge. Then I've been checking out things like Decred, where they're proof of work, proof of stake, like a hybrid. Where like I always thought when I got into Bitcoin, I was like, why don't the developers get paid like the miners? And Decred did that. The developers and the miners are rewarded evenly. I feel like there would be a lot less infighting if that was the case in Bitcoin, but I don't know who's to say. Decentralization is a hard word to categorize in one blanket. There's so many forms of decentralization, and you could say that that's not decentralized. It's not decentralized enough. And that's where staking gets a lot of the crap from. Is people worry about its censorship resilience, I should say, to staking. People do worry, but then there's people that counter worry with proof of work and mining being centralized by just a handful of billionaires, which is true in a sense.
That's where delegated proof of stake kind of fixes a lot of that. And like, say you have EOS.
Well, they're centralized to 21, right? So they are decentralized. Yeah, it's
EOS is, right?
yes.
It's 21, but they're elected, right?
Yes.
But what about all of the forks that are share dropping on you? All these other projects that are still connected right here, and you magnify that 21, and you just keep on magnifying that. Every time there's a fork, it's decentralized even more. You know what I mean?
EOS is it's like a Rubik's Cube for me to try to figure out. Every time I
Yeah.
feel like I got a color lined up and it looks good, I turn this side and everything's still fucked up. And I'm like, damn. But I still got one side figured out. You know, I kind of lost a little bit of faith in EOS after they couldn't get their shit together right away. I was kind of one of those people that was like, oh, it's going to be perfect. Everything's perfect.
Right, it happens, and a lot of launches happen like that. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. And they and they still succeeded though past it. That's what gave me my second wind of confidence in EOS, is that they survived that. Right? Like they didn't need a perfect launch to keep going. Imagine if they had a perfect fucking launch. Damn. But they didn't, and still damn. So I'm keeping an eye on them because of that. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum kind of lost me when CryptoKitties broke it, but then the developers came out of the woodwork, like the little shoemaker and the elf, and they fixed it, and Ethereum's better for it. So I'm like, I'm kind of thinking every time something breaks, I might double down.
Right. I mean, at least for a time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this early, I think breaking is a double down moment for me now.
Yep, because everyone just loses faith like so quickly. Everyone wants everything to happen right now.
Yeah, and perfectly, right? Can't be any hiccups.
Yeah.
It has to go, and it has to be huge. It can't be a small demographic. We want this to be huge. I love when I run into projects and they're like, we're small, we're only launching here, we only got a couple users. I'm like, well, no, that's great. Don't be too big. Figure out the bugs when you're small. And like when I have those conversations, I'm like, they already know. Like these people already know how to succeed. It's the guys at the booth that are trying to get 3,000 people that are attending a conference to sign up today. And I'm like, really? You're gonna have 300 people pissed off tomorrow because they're gonna run into a bug.
Right. And it's not even, it's about long term. It's about, that's why I don't even look at the markets or anything. You know, you ask me about regulation, I don't pay attention. You ask me, like, I mean, you didn't ask me about the markets, but just thinking about like the markets and like stacking right now and everything, it's not even really about stacking right now. It's about just do those things, like bring value, and you don't really have to worry about anything else, I don't think. You know what I mean? Just, you know
I did bring up the markets though. You just said you don't pay attention to them. So you so far don't pay attention to them. You didn't remember I brought them up.
Yeah, I don't. Like
I think I only look at like Bitcoin on like Blockfolio, and I don't even have how many Bitcoin in it. I just use it to kind of like check the different exchanges price of Bitcoin. But that's it. Just because I use Bitcoin every day. I earn Bitcoin, but I also spend Bitcoin. I don't buy Bitcoin. I don't invest in Bitcoin. I am in Bitcoin. So
it's what you do. Like yeah,
it's like people are like, oh, what do you buy, trade, invest? I'm like, no, I use it. Like, I just use Bitcoin. I use it as a store value. I use it as a means of currency. I use it as a technology when I utilize blockchain dApps that people developed. I use Bitcoin. So I don't want to say I'm invested in Bitcoin or investing in Bitcoin. I don't even like trading anymore. I just like putting like I consider it an investment, I guess, if I want to buy like a token for a platform, like a utility token, like things like Stroken Tokens or like how Spank Chain has Spank and Booty and all that stuff. Like I'll buy those tokens, but because I'm going to use them on the platform, and hopefully it gets me more use out of the platform over time because those tokens gained more value. So I get more out of that token, but I'm not really looking at it like, oh, I wonder if I buy these, you know, utility tokens, if I can sell them to get more fiat so I can buy them back later so I can use the platform as an end user.
Yeah, I was doing that for a while. I was trading and making good, especially when I got involved. You know what I mean? It was
like
a
good time, dude. Great
you know
time.
What I mean? But then after a while, started losing on this, started losing on that, and then
what is happening?
What do you mean?
I have 380 live viewers. Hello to all of you that just showed up out of nowhere. Much appreciated. My name's Ken Bozak, that's Rex, and welcome to the show. My YouTube channel just went up to 380 live viewers.
I put it out a couple of different places. I don't know what that had to do with it, but
That's a lot of people, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I feel like it's just coming up to an hour. I was gonna wrap things up. Anything that you
it's
wanted to touch on before we get going? I love your friggin' hat, by the way. Mine's a Stroken Tokens hat. You have the I Snap Nudes.
yeah, that was at one of the conventions we were at. I can't remember which. Shoot. They were giving them away. So, yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. I like that. All right, well, let everybody know where they can find you. I know you create content of your own, so guys, if you're into adult content, check them out. The links are in the description box. Let them know where they can find you, bro.
On whaleshares.io, at or backslash at NSF Wizard, on smoke.io backslash at Smokosaurus Rex.
All right, man. Well,
And
hey,
and also on Vice touch.tube. That's the Vice token site. That's
so if
I guess
I watch your adult content on that website, I can earn cryptocurrency. Giggity,
yeah.
giggity.
Yeah, that's right.
It is right.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what these chains provide is just insane.
And
You know,
you know
and
what though? The adult industry is already primed for this because they've created their own centralized tokens. They have made the content creators
yeah.
and content consumers so used to giving up their money for
Mhm.
other tokens on another, and but they want more freedom with these tokens. And I
Right.
feel like I was talking to Crypto Blood earlier. I really feel like people want volatility. They want to know something is scarce and it is precious and it has value, that it will go up as supply and demand meet. And I feel like the adult industry's perfectly been
It's prime for it.
primed,
Yep. It's primed.
been
Yep.
marinating in this type of technology for a while. They've just been waiting for this, the micro economy aspect, where I can earn a cryptocurrency consuming the content of an adult performer on a platform. Then I could take that currency and trade it on an exchange for a totally new utility token and possibly pay my a percentage of my electricity off, because I watch a lot of porn. You know what I mean, dude?
Not only that, but I mean with the adult stuff, with the cannabis stuff, with anything, and they can take this, and as long as someone keeps on developing more and more tools, they can take these tokens and actually buy things with these tokens at the same time, or trade them or whatever they want to do with them.
Yeah, my buddy Adam from Busto just said how goes it. He dressed up like me on Halloween, dude. He went all out. He even had the pink skirt. I wore a pink skirt to Futurist and a couple other events just to throw off some of the suits. And this dude wore a pink skirt on Halloween, dressed up like me, the whole 9 yards, bro. How goes it, Adam?
Nice.
Shout out to Busto.io. I love you guys. I appreciate the boost.
Oh, Busto, we were at the event they put on and for Consensus, after Consensus in New York, I think.
I know. I should have went. I wasn't. I don't know, dude. I had a different perspective of the space at that time. I should have went to that event. I don't know, but I did go to their event. Where was I? In LA, and that was pretty cool. They had like this headquarters and stuff. I did an interview with Haiti. It's out there somewhere. All right, guys. I guess I'll let you go, bro. I'll see you again, hopefully soon. We can talk.
Man.
We can talk about the vices of we could touch more on camming, cannabis, and gambling and things like that in the industry. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the conversation, please pound that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe, flick the alert bell right next to subscribe, and have a day. And all the links are in the description box below. Don't forget to comment your BITSHARES address. Comment your BITSHARES address in the comment section after the video's on YouTube. Not now, because this goes away. And Rex is going to send you smoke tokes and
smoke bits or erotics.
So if you're into adult content or into recreational indulgence, let them know your vice in the comments with your BITSHARES address. All right, guys, have a day.